What is up everyone, and welcome to some more F1 23 My Team Career Mode. We are here for round number 5 of season 5 of our Jaguar racing career, and we are going to be at the Azerbaijan Grand Prix in the Baku street circuit, and I am kind of dreading this one a little bit. Now, I've done a lot of preparation for this race. That's why there has been a bit of a delay between the last video and this one. It's not as you might expect because I've kind of just been slacking off or whatever. It's actually I've been doing quite a bit of preparation. I did lots of laps in practice for this one. You know, I was using difficulty calculators online, looking at setups and all those kinds of things, and I'm hoping that maybe just maybe this will go a lot better than it's gone in seasons gone by, because realistically I need to get on top of the issues I've been having in the races so far at the start of this season.
Thanks for handling
yes, Bahrain and Australia went okay, but you know, Saudi Arabia, we only got P10. We just about scraped a P10 there. And then China, of course, we finished P12 out of the points. We need to get on top of the issues that we've been facing down so far. So, yeah, we're going to be trying to throw everything at the Baku City circuit here to try and make sure that we can score a few points throughout the weekend. Now, it is, of course, a sprint weekend, as I'm sure you well know, and that means that we're going to have 2 opportunities to score points here in the sprint and in the race, and I'm hoping that we will be able to get points in at least one, if not both of them, just to make sure that we can stay competitive in the championship before we move on to some more circuits that I am a lot better at, such as Imola, and I can't believe I'm going to say this, but Monaco. Somehow Monaco has actually turned into one of my strongest tracks on the calendar. As I've gotten a little bit better at it over the years, I've stopped dreading it quite as much, and now I actually look forward to it quite a lot, because if you can nail qualifying there, then you're basically guaranteed to get a good result in the race. Azerbaijan, basically the opposite of that. Even if you do well in qualifying, it's very easy to slip backwards down the order, so we will see what happens. As we get through practice, things weren't looking great. Our initial runs were not very good at all. When I did the track acclimatization program and the qualifying pace program, I really just couldn't get the car hooked up at all. And then when I switched onto the mediums for the race strategy program, I felt like I actually started to understand the car, understand the track a little bit better. Particularly the braking points. That's the big one. You know, the braking points here are much different from the racing line, to the point that I even at one point in practice deliberated turning off the racing line. Such was the nature of how little it was helping me. I opted to keep it on in the end, but I really don't think it was doing much in the way of helping me. At least not in practice. We will see if there's any more use in qualifying. Now I'm on these soft compound tyres, and we will see if we can set some good laps around here to hopefully contend for at least a top 10 position. I feel like that's a realistic target for here. It's a 1:41.0 to kick things off. We are a little bit slower than the likes of Leclerc and Sargent, and I dare say we will need to go again to make it through to Q2. And we are all the way down in P22, in fact, as we make our way onto our final flying lap on another fresh set of soft compound tyres here. Only 2 tenths up as well, so we're going to need to really improve going into this final sector now. We get a good run through these couple of corners, but we're still down on Fittipaldi, who's in 18th, and so we're going to need something quite special here if we're going to have any chance of making it through. And it's basically just a glorified straight with a few high-speed corners. So not really much in the way of improvement once we made it out of the corner leading into the straight, and as a result we are just shy of 8 tenths up. We crossed the line. It's a 1:40.2. However, that is not good enough to get us through to Q2, and once again in Azerbaijan we are out in Q1 P19. I just can't seem to get the car hooked up around this track. No matter how hard I try, it just doesn't seem to work out for me. Jack Doohan, meanwhile, all the way up in P2, so I'm very happy for him. Good level of performance being shown by the Australian. In fact, it's 2 Australians in the top 2 there, as Oscar Piastri goes fastest as well. Lando Norris down in P14. Maybe he'll have some struggles. Lord knows I'm going to need him to. Meanwhile, we get out-qualified by Lawson and Fittipaldi, and the only drivers that we can out-qualify are De Vries, Stroll and Zhou Guanyu. So I feel like it's not going to be a great weekend for us if the only cars that we can feasibly beat are the Alpha Tauris and maybe the Alfa Romeos and the Williamses, depending on how we do. Obviously, Haas have been making steps forward all the time. They're looking a little bit more competitive now. They can get into the points on a irregular basis, as can Williams for that matter as well.
To today's sprint, this is shaping up to be another fantastic weekend.
Got cut off a little bit there by Alex Jakes. I've been editing these videos differently recently, so I've just been trying to lead immediately into the action rather than having all the fluff between the races. But we are now going to get into the sprint, and hopefully this will go well for us.
Let's run you through the driver grid order for today's exciting sprint. Jack Doohan lines up on pole position, and the smooth operator Carlos Sainz completes the front row. As we continue through the rest of the grid today, we have Perez, Oscar Piastri, Russell, Leclerc, Albon, Magnussen, Norris, Hauger, Verstappen, Ocon, Gasly, Hulkenberg, Sargent, Tsunoda, Liam Lawson, Fittipaldi, Robinson, De Vries, Stroll, and Zhou Guanyu. Which of these drivers will get pole position today? We will soon find out.
Need to remember that there is another one of those immediate cuts later on in the video between the sprint and the race, so I don't get caught out by it. Jack Doohan getting pole position there. Very impressive stuff from him. He was 2 seconds faster than me in qualifying, so whatever preparation I tried to do for this race, clearly it has not worked, and we may need to go back to the drawing board. I kid you not, I did all of these things, and still, it just doesn't seem to have paid any dividends for me. But anyway, we will see what we can do on a set of medium compound tyres as we get ready to go in the sprint now, to get ready to start the formation lap. Yeah, I did so many things in preparation. I did many laps in time trial. I did a difficulty calculator online, which said I should be racing on 99 difficulty, and I looked at that and I went, well, that's basically what I was already on. I was on 100 before, but I put this on 99 thinking, oh yeah, maybe I'll be a bit more competitive than if I was on 100, who knows, but it doesn't seem to have really done much for me. I will try my best throughout the course of the sprint and the race, but it may be a bit more of a disappointing weekend than I was hoping for. I had my life flash before my eyes there because I thought I'd missed the grid slot, and we'll get ready for the lights to come on, and the lights go out, and we've had a good getaway compared to the two Williams there, so I think we're going to make up at least a few positions off the start here, get ahead of Tsunoda there as well, but just take it ultra conservative into turn 1, don't want to go slamming into the back of Pierre Gasly there, and as a result Logan Sargent holds on to the position he was in for the time being, can't make the move on him. Tsunoda is just behind us, and Fittipaldi was having a go up our inside there as well, but we have managed to hold on to P16, so that's 3 positions gained already. I think the target for this sprint, I don't know if I'll be able to finish in the top 10 necessarily, but certainly I want to get into a position where I feel like I may have a realistic chance of getting into the points, if nothing more. If I can get sort of P12, P13, that kind of position, then I think that would be a good performance from us. But it's going to be difficult because at the moment we are fighting with the Alpine of Pierre Gasly, some driver that I tried to sign in previous seasons gone by now, before settling on the former Alpine Academy man Jack Doohan, who actually is doing very well for himself right now, all the way out in P1. And who knows, maybe he'll be the driver from my team mounting a championship fight this season instead of myself. Make our way onto lap 2 now. You can see that Gasly has broken out of that DRS range, but no DRS until next lap. So yeah, hopefully we will be able to get a little bit further away from Fittipaldi by that point. But seems like there is some kind of incident that just happened behind us. I didn't really see much of it, but we will get a replay of that in just a moment because it has brought out the red flag, and well, that's not ideal for whoever was caught up in that incident. I don't know if it was Fittipaldi or what, but we'll see what happened now. So Fittipaldi was quite close to me. He was sizing up a move on myself, but I get around the corner and he just goes straight on into the wall. I think the Tsunoda goes into the back of him, and there's a big pile up of Williams, Alfa Romeo, and Alpha Tauris there. So yeah, that ended up seeing both Fittipaldi and Tsunoda out of the race, and the red flag brought out as a result of that. Kind of impossible for them to really clean those cars off the track without calling a red flag, so it makes perfect sense. And we will see what we can do now as we get ready for the lights to come on once more in Azerbaijan. And the lights go out nice and quick this time. We've had a good getaway compared to Pierre Gasly, compared to Logan Sargent, but there just wasn't really any room for me to go. You know, it's quite a narrow run down to turn 1 compared to some tracks, and as a result not very many places to go. But we are going to try and mount a challenge on Logan Sargent, the American driver, go nice and deep, almost into the back of his teammate Nico Hülkenberg there, but we do just about manage to stay in P14, and we'll see if we can make up more positions as the sprint progresses. Only another 5 laps after this one now, so there's not going to be that much opportunity for cars to get past me with DRS and things like that. Is there an opportunity for me to get up into the points? The problem is I just have no confidence on the brakes, so every corner I'm braking super early, because there were multiple instances in practice where I was trying to brake later and just sailing plain straight into the wall. You'll see instances of it almost happening throughout the course of the race as well. I was very lucky, you know, not to really have many major incidents throughout the start of this sprint so far, because I was really struggling with these brakes. And you can see as we make our way onto lap 5 now that Logan Sargent has kind of reeled me in a little bit. You know, I was trying to put some pressure on his teammate. He's now broken away by more than a second. However, Verstappen and Ocon, the two drivers who famously, of course, came to blows in Brazil in 2018, I believe it was, once again side by side on track. This time the position is legitimate though. They are racing for position, and they are holding up Hülkenberg a treat here, which means I'm going to try and look for a move on him. Couldn't go up the inside there, defended to the inside, but that made him get a bad run out of the next corner, and we are going to try and fight him through the next sequence of corners, go around the outside, switch to the inside, and we are up into P12 here. We gained a position because Sergio Perez pitted earlier as well. You may have missed that, and he is all the way down into P20 now. Obviously 2 retirements in the race. I was going to say P22, but we did see Tsunoda and Fittipaldi exiting the race earlier on. So yeah, we will see what we can do now as we make our way onto lap 6, and you can see that Hülkenberg has stayed right with us despite the fact that we're putting some early pressure on him. I think the position that we're going to finish in, the maximum we're going to be able to get is going to be this P12 or 13 that we're battling Hülkenberg for now. I don't think I'll be able to make up any more positions than that. You can see Verstappen already over 3 seconds ahead of me in an uncharacteristically low position for Verstappen as well, all the way down in P11. The Aston Martin move so far for him not really seeming to work out. He just doesn't seem to be quite as competitive as he was in the Red Bull, although granted nobody so far has been able to match Mercedes over the course of an entire season. I came very close last season, finishing just a few points behind Lando Norris in that Mercedes, but still couldn't quite reach him. Hülkenberg, as we get onto lap 8, start of lap 9 almost, he is broken away by more than a second. It's Pierre Gasly in the Alpine. He's come back for another go, and he's going to make the move very trivially with the DRS. Realistically, I should have been burning way more battery there. You can see how much I've got, but you know, I just, no matter how hard I tried, I could not seem to burn battery here. I was just saving so much at the end of every straight, basically. You know, I was burning maybe 30-40% down the main straight, and then another 10-15% down this straight, and still, you know, I was just had so much battery to spare. It was ridiculous. I was kind of surprised by just how much battery I was able to harvest through the middle sector of the lap. Of course, this is the tight technical one where it's all driver dependent, and because I have no confidence on the brakes, no grip, and just a general lack of traction on the exit of the corners, all in all, that is really making me struggle here. And you can see that Liam Lawson now has actually closed down to me, and if we're not careful, we may come under pressure from him. This time I am going to burn battery all the way to the line, so we're just going to have to hope that that DRS that he's going to get in a second isn't going to be powerful enough for him to gain the position before the end of the race. Liam Lawson, I don't think he's going to do it. We're going to come to the line. It's going to be P14.
Not the result our points leader wanted, but it certainly makes things interesting going forward. So then, it's time to see how this result affects the Drivers' Championship. Well, that wraps up Sprint. All that remains is the main event. We'll be live and uninterrupted for the Grand Prix tomorrow, so make sure you join us then.
Good result for Jack Doohan there, getting P1, and now it's time for us to get into the proper Grand Prix.
A warm welcome to you from Azadlik Square, heart of Baku and home, of course, of the Azerbaijan Grand Prix. With high speeds, tight corners and few runoff zones, many are expecting a safety car here today. So our drivers will have to stay very much on their toes and hopefully out of the barriers. The Baku city circuit measures roughly 6 kilometers and is made up of 20 corners and 2 DRS zones. The circuit winds around the narrow city, through the old town, and even brushes against the city's medieval walls. However, as beautiful as the setting is, this track is also a ferocious technical challenge, where the smallest of mistakes could lead to catastrophic consequence for any one of our drivers. Before we begin, let's take a quick look at the grid lineup for today's race. Jack Doohan lines up on pole position, just edging out Alex Albon, who will start from P2. Looking at the rest of today's grid, we have Russell, Sainz, Leclerc, Magnussen, Oscar Piastri, Norris, Hauger, Ocon, Verstappen, Hulkenberg, Gasly, Robinson, Liam Lawson, Sargent, Stroll, De Vries, Perez, Joe, Fittipaldi and Yuki Tsunoda. Which of these talented drivers will come out on top today? Anthony Davidson, a very warm welcome to you as you join me in the commentary box for today's event. Now, can I get your take on Max Verstappen? And we welcome Anthony Davidson to the commentary box once again. And this driver had a great win last time out. Can they carry that momentum into this one?
It's always nice to come into a Grand Prix weekend on a high, but your expectations are based much more on your practice and qualifying runs. So it's the momentum from those sessions that they'll be hoping to carry into the race today.
Well, I will be hoping that I can get a much better result than I've been getting in the races so far. However, starting P14 here, it is going to be very, very difficult to do that. You know, we didn't have the best of results in China last time out, and well, I think it's going to be very good for us if we can finish even 1 position higher than we finished in China. Never mind the minimum 2 positions higher that we'll need in order to get into the points, because obviously we finished P12 there, and it is going to be a P14 start for us here. We're going to have to make up 4 positions from our starting position in the race just to be able to score 1 point. And meanwhile, all of our closest rivals will be breaking away quite a little bit. However, we are in a bit of a fortunate position that Lando Norris is not starting in the highest possible spot that he could be. So maybe, just maybe, he won't extend his championship lead quite as much. But we will see what we can do as the lights come on. And the lights go out. And we've had a very good getaway once again. We immediately get Gasly, and now Norris has had an awful start there. He's all the way down to P12. He goes 3 wide with Ocon and Verstappen into turn 1. He's the biggest loser there, and now we're going to see if we can mount a bit of a challenge on him as well. Around the outside of him here, and he goes very deep into the corner. We almost get pushed into the wall by him. As a result, that holds him up quite significantly, and we have made our way ahead of Norris and into P12. So if we can make up a couple more positions here, we are going to be finding ourselves in the points already at the beginning of this race. And there definitely are some candidates that I think we'll be able to get ahead of here, particularly you know, Esteban Ocon in this Alpine. You know, the Aston Martins are fairly competitive, but with Hauger at the wheel, who is not the most talented driver on the grid by far. I would say not the most experienced, but this is of course his 4th season in Formula 1 now. He did 2 with us, and then he has already had 1 season with Aston Martin that you know, was a season of not the highest highs, but this season so far actually Hauger has looked a lot stronger than he's looked in previous seasons. So maybe, just maybe, it might be harder than I think in order to get ahead of him, but we will see. As now I think Norris is maybe going to pile a bit of pressure on us as we come on the run down the hill towards the final sector. Is he going to go for a move here? It doesn't look quite like he's going to go for a move on this occasion, but as we come on the run to the next corner, you can see we are now wheel to wheel. He's going to go for a move up the inside. We stick around the outside, go over the rumble strip, and we've held on to the position from Lando Norris. If there's one thing I don't want to do, I don't want to let my championship rival from last season score any more points than he absolutely has to. But I don't know if I'm going to necessarily have much choice, because here comes Lando Norris once again as we come on the run down to turn 1. He's pulled to the outside here, but he's boxed in a little bit because Esteban Ocon is coming up my inside here, and we do manage to hold him off as well. Meanwhile, Lando Norris losing the position to Esteban Ocon, and things going from bad to worse for him. The championship leader may not be the championship leader after this session. So yeah, Esteban Ocon eventually getting ahead of me here and up into P11. But we are going to see if we can hold him off. Actually, I'm realizing now, earlier it wasn't Ocon, was it? It was Gasly that was battling with me and Norris. That's my mistake. I got the two Alpines confused. We go for a bit of a borderline move there on Esteban Ocon. Do just about manage to make the overtake happen on this occasion. And now all we need to do is get ahead of Hauger, and we will be in the points. However, that is easier said than done, as I'm sure you can appreciate. So we will see if we can catch up with him. But right now, he seems to be pulling further and further away on those hard compound tyres. Obviously, the mediums will start to go off after a little while, but Jack Doohan still leading the race for the time being. Of course, has not won a Grand Prix since his debut in France last season. Immediately came in and impressed quite a lot in that McLaren. He's yet to really do anything particularly spectacular here in the Jaguars. You can see Ocon has got ahead of me once again. But yeah, the former Alpine Academy man just not seeming to really deliver as quite as much as you would want him to. Looks like it's going to be 3 wide here with myself, Ocon, and Norris in the Mercedes. Who's going to win out on this occasion? Will it be Norris? Will it be Ocon? I don't think it's going to be Norris. Will it be Ocon or will it be me? I think maybe I've just about managed to make this happen, but is he going to come back for more as we come around the next couple of corners? Will I be able to do to him what I did to Nico Hülkenberg in the sprint race? It seems like the answer is yes, and we have made our way back into P11. So that is not going to do wonders for my chances of scoring points, though, because it's going to hold us up quite tremendously. And you can see that the gap to Hülkenberg in front, who had an absolutely lightning start in the race here, now he's starting to fall away a little bit on those soft compound tyres, but the gap to him still is 5 seconds. So yeah, it's going to be very difficult to catch up with him, but I reckon that we can do it as the softs will start to fall away from him as the race continues to progress. And one thing that's also nice is that gap to Ocon and Norris behind is approaching a little bit more than 1 second, so maybe I won't have to worry about them behind quite as much with the DRS and all those extra tools that they will have to try and overtake me. So yeah, we are extending the gap a little bit to them, and it looks like Ocon is not going to have any DRS on this lap, and that is absolutely perfect for us, because the last thing I want is for Esteban Ocon to get past me while I'm trying to close down Nico Hülkenberg for a points scoring opportunity. However, there are a lot of fast drivers behind that we need to be aware of. The 2 Alpines, of course, are capable of scoring points. The car not quite as bad in this career mode as it is in real life at the moment. And then obviously Norris, the championship leader. Sergio Perez is also in the mix after he had that DNF in the sprint. And here comes Lando Norris up the inside as we make our way to turn 3. It is Norris's world and we are just living in it. However, he's immensely slow through the next corner, and as a result I actually go into the back of him there, and fortunately we don't get any front wing damage. But yeah, very, very slow from Lando Norris. The way he's taking these corners, it's like he's barely even trying to make the corner. I get really frustrated, actually. It happens a lot around Baku, and I've observed it certainly in Imola, which is the track that we're going to next. No Miami on the calendar this season. Yeah, I've observed it a lot in tracks like those, where there are these long straights followed by heavy braking zones. It seems like the AI are very, very comfortable to just send one up your inside, even from a long way back, and hold you up quite significantly compared to the car in front. And as a result, we've lost a position out to Gasly here, and now Sergio Perez has dove up our inside there, and that's caused us to already fall out of Gasly's DRS range. He only overtook us 2 corners ago, but Sergio Perez going for those dive bombs on me, he's really, really not thinking about the long game here, and more thinking about just trying to hold me up to make me easier to pick off. But in the end, it doesn't work out for him because he lost the position to Esteban Ocon. We come into the pits at the end of lap 11, start of lap 12, and we're going to be going on the hard compound tyres to the end of the Grand Prix. It's not going to be easy on the hard compound tyres. I was really struggling on them through practice, but I'm hoping that they will be able to deliver for us here, and we will be able to hopefully get at least some semblance of a result here, even if it's only 1 point. I'm still optimistic that we can make it work, especially coming in a couple laps earlier than planned. It will be a little bit of an undercut, and maybe that's just what we need at the moment, who knows. Nobody really in sight for us. Fittipaldi 1.8 seconds down, but I don't think he'll catch us in a Williams. And now a few cars, including Sergio Perez, have come into the pits. He was ahead of us prior to my pit stop, but we have undercut him, and now we are going to be moving up ahead of him. So yeah, P15 at the moment, while we're still waiting for other cars to box. And now as we come through on lap 13, we will see who else we can get ahead of here. I believe that is one of the Alpines, Pierre Gasly, into the pits, and he was definitely ahead of us. So yeah, I think that we hopefully will be able to get ahead of him here with the undercut, and indeed he will be racing with Perez on the exit there. So yeah, fortunately making up a few positions due to my my handsome strategy, and that has allowed me to make my way into P13. Tsunoda here yet to pit as well, so I think it should be P12 for us. Lando Norris, unfortunately, we weren't able to undercut, so it should be P12. However, we might not be P12 for very long, because Pierre Gasly, going for the move, he you know, utilised the fact I was kind of stuck behind his former teammate Yuki Tsunoda, and as a result, he you know, was very optimistic and tried to go for the move on me there, and well, it almost worked out, but not quite. Kevin Magnussen, my former teammate, comes out of the pits just ahead of us on those soft compound tyres. He's going to be lightning fast. Don't think we even have to think about trying to overtake him. I simply just don't see a world in which this is going to work. But maybe, just maybe, I'll be able to catch his former teammate, Nico Hülkenberg, a driver who, in real life, I am a massive fan of, as I'm sure some of you are very familiar with at this point, especially if you watch my Twitch streams. You will know that quite often I will race for Haas, just for the Nico Hülkenberg hype. But I do like Magnussen as well, granted. And now we're going to try and overtake one of my heroes on track and see what we can do with this. With the DRS, seems to be a pretty trivial overtake for us, but it does seem like Hülkenberg is going to fight this one back, and we go very deep into the corner, so close to pulling a Dennis Hauger and going into the barrier there. If anyone saw that Baku race in Formula 2 that he did, where he ended up collecting the barrier and then hitting about 3 cars as a result of it, you will know what I'm talking about there. But yeah, it was very, very close to being a very similar accident for us there. Fortunately, we do just about manage to hold on to the position, and yeah, Nico Hülkenberg is dispatched, hopefully, and will now start falling down the order. Maybe he can hold up Gasly. He was going very slowly for a while there. And this is Dennis Hauger in the Aston Martin, my former teammate. Seems that he is out of the race, the first retirement of the Grand Prix here in Baku. And yeah, mechanical failure, which will promote us up into the points. We are going to be taking P10 on track now, and maybe we'll be able to hold on to it for the last 6 or 7 laps here. However, Gasly does very quickly get ahead of Hülkenberg. Hülkenberg, some kind of issue for him, I imagine, because he's falling down the order very quickly. But Gasly now, with the DRS, he's going to go for a move up the inside, and we can do nothing to defend this. Absolutely nothing, apart from maybe we could have burned a bit more battery there again. I just really wasn't understanding how much battery I could burn here. You know, I was burning more and more with every lap, and still it was just giving me more and more returns. I didn't want to expend too much battery was the thing. But, you know, on a track like this, with the heavy braking zones, it seems like you can almost hit the deployment limit, and you can still harvest more battery than you have. You know, of course, I've got those maximum battery upgrades, so it would make sense that I would be harvesting quite a lot here. And now we're going to see our second retirement of the Grand Prix. This is Nick De Vries in the Alpha Tauri. He is going to be out of the race as well, as he slows to a crawl coming down the main straight. Will this bring out a safety car? I'd wage to say, with how close we are to the end, some cars already starting lap 24, of course, I don't see how this could possibly bring out anything more than a virtual safety car. So yeah, Nick De Vries, he is going to be out of the race, but I don't think that there will be any further disruption to the race. Other than that, very long trundle back down to the pit entrance, and he's going to park up right by the pit entrance. So hopefully nobody needs to pit, because certainly it'd be very dangerous to try and come into the pits while they're recovering that car from the track. But you know, not even so much as a yellow flag was needed to get him off the track there. So yeah, Nick De Vries out. That takes the number of drivers in the race down to 20, but we find ourselves still in P11 as we come onto the final lap of the Grand Prix now. And actually, somewhat surprisingly, there is one driver who once again looks like he might get us before we get to the line here, and that is Liam Lawson, as George Russell crosses the line to win the Azerbaijan Grand Prix. Jack Doohan could not hold on to that P1 position, and it was relinquished to the Red Bull driver of George Russell in the end. Yeah, Liam Lawson here looking like he potentially could close us down before the checkered flag again. It seems like he's a tiny bit further back than he was on the last occasion, and we held him off that time. so I think hopefully we should be okay, but he is on much fresher tyres than we are. He's on fresh, soft compound tyres that he only put on about 8 laps or so ago. Meanwhile, we're on nearly twice as old hard compound tyres. Still, coming down the main straight, you don't really need the tyres that much, so it does seem like we're going to hold on to this a little bit, and we are going to cross the line, and it's going to be P11. However, there is a weird glitch that seemed to have happened that meant that Verstappen did not get classified there. So despite the fact I think he finished about 7th, he wasn't classified. So we take P10, and we actually walk away from this race with a very undeserved point.
It was a magnificent race and a drive right out of the top draw to take the win for Red Bull today. Anthony Davidson, a resounding victory today. What set them apart from the rest?
I really feel the track layout combined with the track temperatures we saw today suited their car. These cars come alive when the tyres are just at the right temperature, and the driver did a great job managing that as well. They just look so comfortable out there. It's like anything, it always looks so easy when it all just clicks.
The drivers are en route to the podium as we speak. What a fantastic win for the Red Bull team. They've performed exceptionally today, keeping us firmly on the edge of our seats throughout the entirety of the race. Congratulations to everyone at the team.
Well, George Russell taking a hard-fought win here in Baku, and Jack Doohan nowhere to be seen, even on the podium there, as it is Leclerc and Piastri that complete the podium. Good results from the both of them. Oscar Piastri was looking pretty fast all weekend, and in the end turned out to be the superior Australian compared to his countryman Jack Doohan, and it was, of course, a P11/10 finish for us.
And now let's take a look at the drivers' standings. The gap at the top of the championship has been cut down after a difficult race for our championship leader. After an incredible day of racing, who was your driver of the day, Ant?
But there's no question in my mind, it has to go to George Russell. What a performance. He's got every right to be proud of what he accomplished out there today.
It's time to see how things are shaping up in the Constructors' Championship. The lead at the top comes down after a strong weekend from the challenging pack. Well, what an end to another fantastic weekend of racing. Thanks to everyone who's joined us, and we'll see you for the next one.
Well, things are tightening up a little bit in the championship. As you can see, Jack Doohan had a very strong weekend, scoring 20 points, moves himself to just 10 points behind Norris and Albon, who are both on 65 points. Meanwhile, I'm all the way down here on 27 points, 38 points behind our points leaders now. And, well, that's not an impossible deficit to overcome, especially considering this is race 5 of 23. So I definitely think I do have a chance of getting back in the championship fight. However, we are now finally out of this this little mini headache section of the season. Usually it goes on for a little bit longer, to be perfectly honest, if we have Miami on the calendar. But as Miami is not on the calendar this season, I'm hoping that I will be able to bounce back with a good result in Imola. Obviously, it's a very up and down track for me. Some seasons I am immensely strong in Imola. Some seasons I struggle to even score points. But I'm hoping that we will at least, at the minimum, be back in the points in Imola, if nothing more. And then we get to look forward to some races that I'm a little bit stronger at, like Spain and Monaco. I'm trying to remember which tracks are absent from the calendar this year. I know Miami is definitely one of them, and then I think it's Austin and Zandvoort are the other two. If you guys can remember, obviously it was a few months ago now that I made the calendar and finished season 4. But I'm hoping to start getting these videos coming out to you thick and fast now. I am in a position where I can start making videos every day once again, and I'm hoping to do just that. And not only that, but we will also be going back to hopefully doing some driver career on Twitch. I'm hoping to finally start racing in Formula 1 after I made my way through a bit of a difficult Formula 2 season. Hopefully you guys will be able to join me there. So have a look down in the description for the link to my Twitch channel if you want even more Formula 1 racing from me. We do other stuff over there as well. I am a big fan of GeoGuessr, so we do a bit of GeoGuessr over there as well. And hope maybe that's your thing, I don't know. But in any case, I think this race could have gone a lot worse for me. It almost did. You can see there in the highlights. That could have been an absolute disaster for my myself. But somehow we managed to keep it on the track just about, or at least out of the wall just about, and as a result we got rewarded with a point that we probably didn't deserve, but you have to take it where you can get it. If we win the championship by 1 point this season, or on countback, you can be down in the comments on that Abu Dhabi video telling me all about how undeserved this championship was. I don't think that's going to happen. I will be perfectly honest. I don't see that reality unfolding based on the performance that we've seen so far. But you know, I will choose to remain optimistic. We've definitely overturned bigger deficits than this in much shorter spaces of time in previous career modes. I think back to it was F1 22. It would have been when we did a championship fight with Albon. We were 50 points down on him with 4 races to go, and we managed to overturn that one. So anything is possible when you believe, and there is a long road to go to overturn this deficit. But that is going to be it for this video. So if you enjoyed, please make sure you like and subscribe, and hopefully I will see you in the next one.